All right, all right. It is Ask Christian Anarchist, number 54. Let me test something. All right, so there we go. Making sure my audio is working because I am trying something different with the bandwidth. I have the little bandwidth usage thing finally on 0 because I've had problems with before. And this would just limit me to only audio, which is good because I have no camera usage whatsoever. So I guess this will be good for me. Not so sure about the other people though, because I don't know if this means that I'll only see or hear audio, or if this just applies to me. Anyways, we'll see where it goes from there. But anyways, yes, it is Ask Christian Anarchist, and we are gonna just dive right on into it. Oh wait, turns out I do need to have these things on for for me to screen share. Okay, in that case, then here we go. Screen sharing this particular picture. This is how you can ask your question for Ask Christian Anarchist number 54. You want to go on the YouTube live chat that you're looking at right now? I see we have 4 viewers, so if y'all want to go ahead and submit y'all's question, feel free to do so. Yeah, we see Seth and Presley in the chat saying, "Sir, do not complain. This is a Christian channel." Because it is. I guess so. Wait, I guess I gotta keep up with my live stream there on the YouTubers. All right, there we go. Now my video's playing. All right, so ask on the YouTube live chat if you got a question, submit that in, and we will get to it. Also, if you have a Twitter, submit your question to ask at Christo_anarcho with the hashtag AskCA, and I will get you your question. We do have one question that comes in from Twitter right now. We will be glad to take more, so feel free to submit your questions and we will get to you. Then, of course, if you want to ask for the link, if you have Google Hangouts, that'll work. But at the moment, I'm doing Skype because that's the one place that's free to get. And you can just message me on there. There's the my tag. Really, it's just Christian Anarchist. Nothing special. No changing what I'm usually referred to as on here. Now, we're also got to make sure my alarm is off. That way I don't get interrupted during the show. Also, instead of water today, I'll be drinking Gatorade. There we go. Refreshing. And then, of course, you can ask a question on the Discord server, which is in the description box. You can go down there and you can check it out. Which also, you can message me directly on there to ask for the link. Now, that being said, y'all want to come in? Let me know in the live chat, and we'll see what we got. First question that I will answer. Seth and Presley, I guess 2 people, asking, should we kill Ajit Pai? No, because Aj should still be able to eat his pie. We should not kill Ajit's pie. Alright, just leave Aj and his pie alone, because Aj should eat his pie. Anyways, bad joke. But no, we shouldn't. Anyways, let's see. One person had, like I said, I was gonna get to one person's question on the Discord server first, and his question is, so we got Stepper in this particular chat, and he's wanted to know, what is the gospel according to me? And to me, I'm just going to simply say it. I mean, I've said it several times before, and this is normally what I've aimed some people to go to if they wanted to hear a good summary of the gospel in a tract. And that is this. It was written that God created the heavens and the earth, Genesis 1:1. He then created the plant life and the animal life on the earth until he finally approached with creating a gardener to tend to the garden. He created Adam from the ground and breathed life into his nostrils, Genesis 2:7. After Adam named the animals, he didn't see them as fit to be his suitable helper. Then the Lord caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep as he created a help met for him from his side, Eve. Once they were tempted in the garden by the serpent, they were cursed from the garden. Throughout the ages, God would punish and then bring his people to reconciliation through various acts. He would have, of course, a plan for something big. He would reconcile not just his people being the Jews, but the whole world, which also includes the Gentiles, which includes us. In the Old Testament, God's people were promised a Savior. They were promised a Messiah, a Mashiach. And he came as God manifested in the flesh, John chapter 1. Jesus would fulfill the Old Testament law and be the Lamb who would be the atonement for the sins of not just the Jews, but also the Gentiles. Not just for Israel, but for the whole world. He ministered the gospel into the world and lived his life until he was crucified under Pontius Pilate. He was buried, and on the third day, he rose from the grave, gave the Great Commission in Genesis chapter 28, and he ascended into heaven. His death and resurrection was an atonement and sacrifice for the world, especially those who believe in him, 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 10, so that whoever believes in him, as Romans says, and as Acts says, whoever believes in Jesus Christ will be saved, them and their family and their household. So that is the gospel according to me. All right. Thank you for your question there, Stepper. Again, most of this stuff, okay, I'm going to just go ahead and address this since I can tell this is going to be the topic. Oh, wait, I just realized this is, do I still have this up? Yes, I do. Great. Anyways, yeah, because I'm seeing those questions about net neutrality already going up, and I'm not really that much worried about it. Because if you think about it, it's definitely going to go through some plans from having to go to, it's going to have to go through all kinds of different courts to make it into the place it's got to go to be finalized as a code of law and to be, go through with it. And you already see that because of the fact that it's finally going through one phase, now a bunch of states are starting to step up. I forget which one. I think California or something just kind of showed up on it. I think like 10 or 11 other states started showing up to defend net neutrality. And who knows, maybe and hopefully the president gets behind on that, or other places, because I know Comcast and a few other groups that I've tried to look it out online, these other providers for internet and cable would not treat its customers like that, even if the bill passed, or even if this thing passed. So, I don't know. I honestly don't worry about it because because Ajit Pai, or how I pronounce his name, said, well, it's not good. Or that, net neutrality is bad for business, and we need good business, and this thing we're doing by repealing it will actually improve business. It'll come back to bite him, and it'll realize it'll actually make business worse. And that's the problem. So that's my thoughts on net neutrality. I really don't have much of a care on the subject. So, because I think it's just like Y2K. People are worrying too much about it when they realize that Ajit Pai is not going to have a single chance at this. So, that being said, feel free to relieve yourselves of that and just go ahead and send me y'all's religious questions, because I'm ready for that. All right. Silver Reploid CLE from Twitter asks, who is your favorite YouTuber, no matter the genre of activities they do on YouTube, and why? Well, my favorite YouTuber is Inspiring Philosophy. And the reason why is because he makes the videos entertaining, but yet informative. Oh my goodness. Jeep! Gatorade! Help me! I'm gonna drink a ton of you. Keep me awake. I don't need falling asleep. Bleh. I gotta smash people tomorrow with foam swords. but yeah, like Inspiring Philosophy makes videos that are kind of like lectures, but they're not as boring as your regular old lecture. They are pretty much with these interesting graphics, and he cites sources, and he keeps you drawn in. And I don't know what about it that's causing it to keep me drawn in and such. But it's amazing the fact that this is happening. With a guy like him, he's managed to influence me and a couple of other people to be engaged in a new level of apologetics. And I find that just amazing and just mind-blowing, in all honesty. So, that would be my favorite YouTuber. Don't want to get too long-winded on that one. All right. Okay. Seth and Presley asks again, can you explain revelations in 5 words? I will explain revelation in 5 words. It's not revelations. So I always get triggered whenever people do that because it's just the Bible nerd in me, and I would like I just try to make sure that that kind of thing is accurate, not inaccurate. Hang on a second. I gotta blow my nose real quick. There we go. All right. So yeah, Revelation in 5 words. I don't know where did this come from. What would be a good 5-word thing for that? I guess it would. My 5 words for that is Revelation in 5 words. End times are coming, y'all. That would be my 5 words for what describing Revelation in just simply 5 words. So, end times are coming, y'all. Better prepare yourself. All right. Okay, so we don't have much questions left on the reserves. So for y'all watching on the YouTube, because I see we've got like 7 people watching. Hello? Christian man, how are you?
Doing great.
Are you Russian now?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, it's so good to see you, comrade.
Oh, it's so great to see you. I will go get Natasha.
What's that? Oh, we are.
I have a weapon that shoots $20,000 in 1 minute.
I did not know you were working for Joel Osteen.
No, I was referencing the character in TF2. Heavy.
Yep. Nice. Anyways, good to have you.
Oh, you're good here too. I'm on my phone.
Oh, I can tell. Sound like you've got yourselves busy. All right. So, what was I at? Oh, yeah. So we got one more question that's on the reserve, but for y'all's watching on YouTube, Twitter, anywhere else, feel free to send a question because we got plenty of time for that. Plus, we got Christian Man in here, so hurry up, send in your questions. Now, we have Alaricus, however you say it, saying, "Yo, Christian, I am curious about the Arab Christians. Could you talk about them and how their traditions at Christmas are different from our Western traditions?" Thanks, man. Well, I mean, I think any tradition from any Christian in different areas are obviously going to have differences because they're from different cultures. And they're going to slightly sometimes just mingle in whatever the culture that they have, such as language, certain holidays or feast days that go on there. And they mix them into how they should Christian man. Thank you, mate.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. You're good. So, I mean, for example, I don't know exactly what goes on over for Arab Christians with Arab Christmas. So I can't really comment too much on the differences. but I can say that, if they have different traditions, as long as they're not compromising, I mean, I think it's a good thing and it's not much of a problem. So you just have to look at how they each do their own thing. And for most parts, the Coptics, the Arab Christians in these places, as they call them, aren't actually Arab Christians, or the Christian part is what I'm emphasizing. They are Arabs, just not Christians, because they're usually influenced by the Eastern Orthodox cult. And so as a result, they're going to believe in some false teachings. And that's usually what going on over there within the Coptics. I don't know too much of them that are Protestants. So, anyways. So we got one person saying, awesome Avengers, faithful canine sidekick. Yes, I believe genuinely the end times, otherwise known as the rapture, though I don't believe in the popular myth concept of the rapture as some people claim. Like Left Behind series. The stuff is obviously a fictional work and is based upon just theatrics, but the images are a whole lot more have a lot more meaning once you look at them from the biblical and scholarly perspective on things. So, that being said, Sister Hipster has just joined us. So, how are you doing, sister?
Where's my confetti?
Your confetti?
I need my confetti. Everybody, give me my confetti.
Christian, did you forget the confetti?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know there was going to be confetti.
Ah!
Well, then.
When I come in, I demand confetti.
Well, you can blame Christian Man because that's his job. He's supposed to be in charge of that, not me.
I blame Han Solo because he does not have his awesome soundboard.
And you forgot to bring pie. I'm just ashamed.
I brought pie, but I ate it all. You know me, especially if it's a cheesecake pie, then I'm gonna eat it.
Okay. I'll forgive you since I have to. 70 times 7, of course.
See, that just means forever. Anyways, welcome y'all too. So let me check. Apparently, Stephen Presley has informed us Mexican Christmas is celebrated during December 16th through, February the 2nd.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
I want to keep getting presents on those days, so they better rack up.
That's even better than Hanukkah.
Better than Hanukkah. Yeah. All right, and the canine sidekick says, but you believe Satan will rule Earth and presumably non-Christians are left behind. Yeah, I mean, that is what the Bible says, that there will be tribulations, there will be rough times, and when the Christians are going to be taken up, or at least some of the faithful are going to be taken up, then there will be those left behind. And then eventually Jesus will come back and wage war against the world, those who have taken the side of the devil. So, yeah. Anyways, so any more questions from Twitter, Discord, or YouTube? You guys are now the last resorts for questions. So we're doing this based on first come, first served order. So Christian Man, you came in first. You get to have the honors of the first.
Okay, what is your favorite bird?
My favorite bird? Whichever one tastes good once you fry it.
Okay, that'd be chicken then.
Good. Then I will choose chicken.
That's also turkey, so you also like chicken turkey.
I will chicken, turkey, whatever is good when you fry it.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you for your question. Was that seriously your question?
As of the moment, yes.
What is the favorite bird? Well, it's not a bad one. At least we get to know what I like to eat. All right. So let's see. Stephen Presley asks, when they are left behind, how would they have electricity? I mean, I think the system would still work with electricity. It's just the government's still in control of it and all. I mean, I don't see how it would say that there's no more electricity. So they would just have electricity because electricity is still there. And Xfall 50, I'm assuming is the guy that mentioned the question earlier about the Arabic Christians. Eastern Orthodox is a cult in the fact that it's false and is basically, like you says here, a division of the Roman Church, which again teaches false teachings. Okay, so Eastern Orthodox Church rejects sola fide. The Eastern Orthodox Church believes that we are justified by faith and works. The Eastern Orthodox Church denies Scripture as the infallible, as the final authority. I've even talked to a few Eastern Orthodox guys on Twitter, and they basically said, well, show me from the Scriptures where it says Scripture is the final rule of authority, or show me in the Bible where it says there are only 66 books in the Bible, or which book canon is required. So they believe that along with the Bible, church fathers and church history and tradition are also equal in authority, and that we can't interpret or have doctrine unless we use church fathers to aid us as a final authority. That we cannot interpret the Bible outside of church fathers and outside of church tradition, which is ridiculous. Because if the Scriptures clearly say what they say, I would rather trust them than fallible men at times. So it's okay to put some look into the studies, but don't just simply take them by blind faith. That's how we have ignorance. And that's what the Eastern Orthodox Church is. And I notice also the one person I talked to, a person by the name on Twitter, and Eve, how do you pronounce it? Canadian. Is someone that is a Eastern Orthodox person and basically just trash talks whenever a certain opportunity arises about Protestants. Mostly is trying to say, oh, the liberals and the SJWs are weak. So definitely you could say as a sort of alternative right type of person, but also at the same time just really has a point where they want to argue against the Protestant doctrine. But when challenged on their beliefs as Eastern Orthodox, she will just run away from it and hide from it. And it's obvious why. Because they don't really want to engage that kind of intellectual thinking, in honest opinion. Even though the person claims to be a philosopher and resorted to claims like, well, which apostle, which prophet are you going to go with? Apostle, prophet, John Calvin, or apostle, prophet, some later guy who joined the Eastern Orthodox Church that for some odd reason you people are still calling apostles and prophets. So, yeah. There's a reason why I'm calling it cultic. And by the way, the church in Rome, Exfall, is not universal. There are various sections in Roman Catholicism, and it's a very good portion of them being branched out from sedevacantists, from those who are in the liberal denominations, from those who are separating from the ecumenical movement and such. You have all kinds. So there you go. Anyways, sister, do you have a question?
So are you pre-tribulation or post-tribulation?
I am neither.
Okay.
CC.
Okay. That is all.
Huh?
That is all.
That is all.
I'm sorry if I'm being racist to anybody. I don't mean to, by the way.
Don't worry, most Europeans aren't triggered when you make fun of, when you stereotype them. Look at the Irish.
What about them?
Oh, we make, well, St. Patrick's Day. Everyone's Irish.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we got a pub in town, and we definitely have a good portion of Irish peeps in the area, and they really don't get offended once we start. As long as people, I guess, are drunk in that part of the area, everything's fine. Everything. There's really nothing wrong there as long as everyone's got a nice drink. Oh, drinky.
Alcohol's nasty.
Oh yeah, it's definitely very nasty.
That is like this horrible bitter taste, especially ale.
Yeah. Ale. No more ale. What the?
Where's all the rum?
There's all the rum, mate. But if most of the world is gone, how would they actually keep it? Just keeping track of this conversation I'm seeing on the live chat. Some guy saying most of the world aren't Christian. Well, you got a point there, but what does that matter? So, anyways. And apparently the same guy, Canine, is saying, how about hell? Do we believe in hell? Well, I believe in hell. Christian man, do you believe in hell?
Yes.
Sister, do you believe in hell?
Yeah, I'm surprised you do.
Why?
I think there was an other day somebody was asking about it. I mean, it was probably several months ago, but how it probably was created or something, or the idea of it.
Well, somebody tried to say that it was created as a terror kind of thing, but I disagreed. I think it
was some atheist dude. I don't remember. He was he was a civil one. He was one of those civil ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that his art he had some interesting points. And I thought you were agreeing with him.
I think there's a misconception with some of the things of what hell is supposed to be these days. And so that's why I address that.
Mm-hmm. I was told one time by a rabbi that they didn't really have a concept of hell. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have Sheol.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they got. All right, Bob asks, why was it important for Onan to carry on the bloodline of heir? I just see heir. Let me see. Where's the story of Onan at? I don't know if that's the full name or not for that person. Okay, we're going to Genesis chapter 38 then. Okay, and I'm going to need a jacket at some point because I'm now starting to get freezing in my own house.
Question: How cold is it where you live at?
Okay, yeah, that's supposed to be the name, heir. Just been a while since I've seen that. When I got home, it was like 58, 57 degrees.
Dude, where I live up here, that's like good. That's close to like a warm day.
We had snow the other day. And it's like 44 degrees. Let me see.
Well, let's take a look at the passage then, so we can understand why it was needed for this to happen. So let's check Genesis 38:1. Let me make sure my software's up. All right, and we got Jolly Jimmy in the room. All right, so let's take a look here. So, starting in verse 1, and it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adulamite, whose name was Hijrah, and Judah saw there was a daughter whose name was Shua. It's okay, so we got the genealogy. And his name, and she conceived, again, bare a son. She called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah, and yet was Chizab when she bare him. So Judah's firstborn, his name was and Judah's firstborn was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, Go into thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, then he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did also displeased the Lord, where he also slew him. So right here, go up into we're going to read from the Gill's commentary here for a sec. Moses here uses a word not common for marriage, but which was peculiar to the marrying of a brother's wife, according to a law given in his time. It appears to have been a custom before, and which the patriarch might be directed to by the Lord. In such a case, when a brother died and left no issue for the sake of multiplication of seed, according to the divine promise, and which the time of Moses passed the law. See Deuteronomy 25, verse 5, which says, If brethren dwell together, and one of them dies, meaning, okay, so Onan and heir, the two brothers, they're dwelling together, one dies, and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. So right here, he is asked and required to to oblige to follow a part of the law, which is found in Deuteronomy 25, verse 5. So that is part of the Torah, the law. And then it says, raise up seed unto thy brother, that might bear his name and enjoy his inheritance. For this law or custom was partly political, to continue the paternal inheritance into the family, and partly typical to direct to Christ, the firstborn among many brethren. Whereas Romans 8:29 says, For he did foreknow, he also did predestinate, and such. Who, in all things, was to have the preeminence, Colossians 1:18. And this was not taken from the Canaanites, among whom Judah now was, but from the ancient patriarchs, which they had no doubt from divine revelation, and was taught in the school of Shem, and handed down over from father for son. So then questions of what he knew the seed should not be his, should not be called a son of his, but a son of his brother heir. This is to be understood only of the firstborn. All of the rest of the children born afterwards were reckoned to the children of the real parent of them. This shows this was a custom in use in those times, and well known, and was not a peculiar case. So, going to the question that was originally asked by Bob, which is, why was it important for Onan to carry on the bloodline of heir? And that was, one, because God told him to, and two, because it was a commandment found within the law, within the Torah. So if he refused to do so, then basically he's saying, well, you're violate, then it is right for me to then basically Onan is saying, hey, It's right to violate the law. It's right to go against what God has commanded and left as commands for us Israelites, which Deuteronomy 25 verse 5 says that we are to, if one brother dies, then we are to engage in a marriage contract in which provides making sure that the person has at least some child so that they may continue. So based on what I've seen in that verse and what I've read in the passage, she did not have a child in the beginning. And so in order for there to still be some bloodline, there had to have been something from that family. So heir was dead. Onan, the brother, was still alive. And so he was chosen to go through with it. So it was important, and God wanted for the bloodline to continue because, one, it was clearly stated in the law. That's what he was required to do. So hopefully that answers your question there. Anyways, so we got wait, sister, did I ask you a question already? Or you asked a question?
Yeah, I already asked you a question.
Okay, I'm starting to lose my mind here. I'm forgetting things. All right, so then we're going to Jimmy. Jimmy, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
I'm great. I was just invited, so I don't actually have anything prepared.
All right. Oh, no problem, man.
Okay.
For you to take your time, take your patience, and we'll get to something.
Okay.
Yeah, if y'all have a question, let me just I guess since I'm going to go ahead and do it again. Get the things open so that way you can see how to ask a question. If y'all are just tuning in and want to know how to ask a question, feel free to go to YouTube live chat to ask a question. Or you can ask a question on Twitter by tagging me on Twitter using the hashtag as well. You can also ask for the link via Skype or Google Hangouts if you do already have me friend requested on there. Or you could ask on the Discord server, or go to a question on there. You can ask for the link there as well, and I'll get you that. And just check us out, and we'll get you your question answered. So far, it's 8:37. Almost not. It's not even that time yet for the pills. I need my pills. Man.
I'm still from the future.
You're from the future. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You're
It's 11 here in the morning,
yeah.
and I'm like skipping all my college tasks right now.
Why are you skipping college?
Because Ask CA is better.
Like perfect Arnold impersonation right there. All right. We got a X-Files saying, what are your thoughts on love thy neighbor and treat others as you want to be treated? How can we try and apply that commandment to our everyday lives? I mean, just follow with what it says. You see someone that is your neighbor, meaning someone who is not a believer in Christ, just anybody, average Joe, walking down. Love them and treat them as you would want to be treated. That's literally how you apply that to your everyday life. So, yeah. So, hopefully that helps out any. All right, what's this? Okay. That was a past thing. I've already seen that. All right. That being said, all right. I guess we'll just go back to Christian Man.
Yeah.
So, do you have a question for us?
Your favorite Bible verse?
Oh. Good question. I would have to say why did you have to ask me this question? There's honestly too many.
He's reached his limit.
That's
We've broken
true.
him.
I'll answer the best of my ability. This is far beyond my ability.
That's true. Joking.
Let me see. It's a good question. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's going to be in the 6th chapter of John. And it would be John chapter 6, verse... let me see here, because I remember I was reading it earlier today when I was at the movie theaters going to see Star Wars today. And there was a part in there where Jesus is mentioning himself. Let me take a look here, just because I want to make sure I have the right one. And I guess it's this particular one is verse 37, John 6:37. All that the Father giveth me, which is Jesus being given from the Father, shall come to me, and him that comes to me I will in no wise cast out. Because not only does this seem as a eternal security passage, but also in a way shows that Jesus welcomes people no matter their ethnicity, no matter the gender, no matter the culture that they've been brought up in. He bases it off of no conditions or of the ways they've been brought up in. So that would be my favorite verse for that.
Mm-hmm.
And also for Code Cat, Jesus is in the new Star Wars. He makes a brief cameo. Sorry if that counts as a spoiler for those who haven't seen Star Wars. I'm seeing a lot of messages retracted. Are they retracting their own message, or is someone removing them?
I'm not removing them because I'm in
doing
my
nothing.
phone.
Okay, because I was about to read X-Files' message, but it just got retracted. So I don't know. All right. Well, I was gonna. Yeah. Oh yeah. K9 Sidekick saying Jesus is mentioned in Star Wars. I'm like, yeah, man. Haven't you heard the good news found it in Star Wars? We as Christians have infiltrated, and now we're gonna just buy Star Wars DVDs and hand them out as gospel tracks on DVD. Use the Force, people. Use the Force. So let's see. Okay. Well, we don't have anybody in the live chat with a question. So if y'all are watching and want to help out, just share the link out on Facebook, on your Discord, on your Google Plus, on your Twitter, whatever. Spread the word, man. Get some stuff out there, man. Great. I can't type. Trying to type in Twitter, I typed in TWO. Or 2. Oh my goodness. I just realized there's 2 ways of saying that. I'm an idiot. Star Wars is set in a different galaxy a long time ago. Yeah, and what's your point? Jesus is eternal. Anyways. Yeah. Wait, what was I? Oh, yeah. So, Christian man, you have a question.
Let me think really quick.
You better think fast. I'm about to throw a Bible, and it will land on your head in about 5 seconds.
Well, actually, a couple minutes because if you have telepathic powers, man, you gotta be careful of you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me.
I'm gonna drink my Gatorade while you ask.
What would be the best answer to the objection that you cannot find the Trinity in the Old Testament?
What's the best objection or response to objection?
Response to the objection.
Rapture isn't in the Bible either.
That's a good one.
Right, but I think you're saying the concept of the Trinity.
Yeah, the concept of Trinity, not the word Trinity, the concept of Trinity within the Old Testament.
Oh, okay.
Right, my response would be simply that with not Genesis, Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 4, which is ironically what some people would call the verse that supposedly proves the Unitarian God. That is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. So the words used is Yahweh and then Elohim. So it says the Yahweh, our Elohim, is one Yahweh. There's only one Yahweh, meaning one God, meaning one, at least that's what we call him today, but his name being of Yahweh. So Yahweh, our Elohim, is one Yahweh. Now, why do I emphasize that difference? Because the term used for Elohim, which is translated as God, it's not a singular noun. It is a plural. And because of it being a plural, we see that there is one individual named Yahweh, but it's complex by using a plural noun here, which is Elohim. So how can we explain with the singular of Yahweh, but yet the plurality of Elohim? And the simple answer to that is that, as Dr. Michael Brown, a Messianic Jewish scholar, notes because of the Hebrew, is that concerning this passage, we can see that there is a complex unity involved. That we see signs of a singleness of there being one God, but at the same time, there is this plurality that is sensed within the word of Elohim. And when we also examine all the other Bible verses that are out there, such as the angel of the Lord versus Yahweh himself, and then the spirit of Yahweh, we see this Trinitarian pattern that shows of God's complex unity all throughout the Bible. And this is one place that easily gets us to the starting point, is that when you start to see that there's Yahweh, that is called Yahweh, and uses that our Lord, our Yahweh, is, Yahweh, our God, Elohim, our Elohim is one Yahweh. And it's right there shows not just unity, but a complex, pluralistic kind of unity. So sorry if I kept going rambling on back and forth, back and forth.
No, you're good.
That answer your question?
Yep.
All right. Thank you for your time. All right. So Xfall says, was the Emperor Constantine an example to the people of his lifetime due to his conversion to Christianity? I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, haven't really looked into what Constantine did because I don't care for what he did. What's so funny?
I just think it's funny. That you just say, yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah. I mean, I got better issues to worry about. Well, I found one interesting
Wow.
so I would like to talk about while people are submitting some questions, whether it be Twitter, Discord, YouTube. And sister, if you would be able to check out the list of questions that may come in, at least the genuine.
Which one? On Discord?
Yeah, on YouTube.
On YouTube, okay.
Yeah, I'll keep track on the Discord ones because I keep in track everything on the YouTube at times. But I remember, and Christian, man, you remember this. We had the encounter with that one Seventh-day Adventist whose name was Halrius Zulu.
Mm-hmm.
So the Proclamation Magazine, which is a it's a thing from Life Assurance Ministries, started by Dale Ratzlaff, and its ministry work is to show that Seventh-day Adventism is false.
Mm-hmm. I'm familiar with Dave Ratzlaff.
Yeah. Recently, an article came about by Colleen Tinker, who is one of the general editors for the section known as Colleen News. And apparently, everyone's familiar with Snopes, right?
Yeah.
They are they're the website that's able to validate certain claims. Well, Snopes actually just decided to go check something that has been claimed by several Seventh-day Adventist opponents, including Zulu and a couple of the guys from what's that organization called? Amazing Facts. And that is that you can tell that it's also true because, well, vegetarians that are like us, it's been scientifically demonstrated in studies that they live longer than those who don't. Apparently, Snopes has just discovered that the claim that vegetarians live longer is unproven by scientific evidence. And this was in an article that was discovered on Tuesday, December 12th. So right here, we're going to go to the article. It says, this idea, Snopes says, comes mostly from the much publicized Adventist health study, which, quote, utilized data collected from 1976 and 1988. The Snopes article, which is a 2001 study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, based on data from First Adventist Health Study, provides the basis for most vegetarian longevity claims. Significantly, the Loma Linda researchers, quote, published a follow-up paper in 2013, but their earlier figure is still frequently cited, in part because its findings offer the perception of being unambiguous. The 2013 study, which includes more recent data, found a similar association, but was more muted in its treatment of potential direct causation between vegetarianism and longevity. The authors of the study suggested in its results may not be directly applicable to other populations. So this month, December 2017, the Loma Linda launched a new study called Adventist Health Study 2. And Snopes points out that there have been other studies done recently that have yielded different conclusions. A 2015 study of more than 60,000 people in the United Kingdom, part of the European Prospective Investigation into Cancer and Nutrition, Oxford, found that vegetarianism provided no overall reduction in risk of early death, though it found that some low meat diets reduced the risk of death from specific ailments. Additionally, a paper in 2017 analyzed the results of an Australian study that took place and looked at 240,000 Australians, the 45 and UP study. This study found, quote, no increased longevity from avoiding meat. A quote from this paper states, we have shown in a large population-based Australian cohort that there is no difference in mortality between vegetarians and non-vegetarians. The result of our study seemed consistent with other studies, and meta-analysis, which is papers and studies of the highest scientific rating. And dang it, why did nobody tell me that Sparkle was in here?
Mm.
Dang it.
Mm-hmm.
Good night. Good night, come back. You can blame it all on me. Okay. Enough of me being stupid. Okay. Again, if anyone sees him, let me know. because I feel like an idiot now.
Sounds like somebody in the scientific community just needed to make a buck, and then pop culture got a hold of it and over-exaggerated it.
Yeah. Well, that's what Seventh-day Adventists do. So, yeah, meta-analysis studies are the most highest rating scientific peer-reviewed papers of all. And they have shown that in non-selected populations, and a vegetarian diet is not associated with reduced mortality. So, and as it says, the problem of vegetarian studies has been that there are other factors besides diet which accompany those which are studied. For example, whether or not a person smokes can skew the results if one is not accounting for that difference among the test subjects. Melody Ding is a co-author of a paper discussing the results of this Australian study, and she writes that it's important to acknowledge that in most studies, vegetarians tend to be the most health-conscious people, with overall healthier lifestyle patterns than the norm. In most previous studies, vegetarians did have the lower risk of early death from all causes in unadjusted health analysis. However, after controlling for other lifestyle factors, the risk reduction often decreased significantly or even completely vanished. This suggests other characteristics beyond abstinence from meat may contribute to the best health among vegetarians. As a result, these later studies, Snopes concludes that there is a growing skepticism of a direct correlation between vegetarianism and longevity. Nevertheless, enough controversy remains over the subject that Snopes does not declare the idea to be untrue, but it does say that it is unproven. So, I thought that should just be pointed out because I'm really sick and tired of it when the Seventh-day Adventists bring that up, as if that's supposed to
Prove their theology.
Yeah, it's supposed to be evidence for the theology, when in fact it's just simply lies at this point.
Oh, look! Our theology teaches that we should eat meat. We shouldn't eat meat. It makes us live longer. No.
Okay. Do you want to do a YouTube?
Yeah, about to say, yeah, let's go ahead and go to that.
Okay. Let's see. Awesome Avengers faithful canine sidekick says, didn't Jesus promise to return in the lifetime of those around him?
Yeah. Well, I don't think so. Well, at least I don't think so. I mean, technically he did return in the resurrection, but I mean, if you're referring to the return as in like the second coming, I mean, I don't think he said that.
He also makes mention of saying, amen, I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Yeah. And then there's Luke 9:27 saying, truly I tell you, some who are standing here will not taste death before they see the kingdom of God.
Right. So let me see first off where his first verse comes from. So, this generation will not pass away. I see one saying will not pass away until 1948. I don't know what the heck that's about, but I don't want to get caught up in no conspiracy sites. It's quoted Jesus in regards to the end times, found it in several places. So I'm looking at gut questions at the moment, because that, oh, for goodness sake, shoo, get off. Because I was trying to have a hard time finding the verse, and then I get this here. And besides, I prefer modern commentaries for examining the passages. So I'm assuming with him going to one part of the Luke already, let's just use the verse for Luke. So that would be 21:32, I think. Okay. And he spoke to them a parable. Behold the fig tree and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, you see and know of your own selves, that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise, ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is nigh at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going just to pull up the John Gill thing on hand. I'm just going to pull up his commentary, which will start from verse 24, or chapter 24 of Matthew, because he already covers it in that particular area. Like I said, he's covered the subject in those places. And hey, look who's here. It is Feckle.
Oh,
Hello, everyone.
no.
You're
Oh,
a
I
nerd.
think I found the answer for Luke 9:27. Okay, in context, but Avengers.
Wait,
The
what?
thing was, you read back and then you go to 9 and 28 through 36. Basically, it was Peter, James, and John, honey. What happened was they actually went up to a mountain, and then Jesus just all of a sudden changed, and he was like, and they were all like seeing him talking to Moses and Elijah, and he's all different and light and glowy and stuff. And then Peter's all like, should we make a shrine to y'all? And then everything went back to normal. So that was what it is. So them having the Mount of Transfiguration, that was what that script, that passage was about. I'm sorry to take over your channel, but
Yeah, you're good. So my response would be, okay, so I'm going to go with the commentary found it in the, at least not exactly commentary, but at least one thing that helps us with this particular part. So got questions saying the key to understanding what Jesus meant by quote, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place, is the context that we must understand the verses that are surrounding Matthew 24, verse 34, especially the verses prior to it, which is in Matthew 24, chapter 24, verses 4 through 31. So we're going to go ahead and check there. So let's go ahead and take a look in the mirror and cry, yes, I am quoting Queen right now. So take a look in these verses then. And Jesus answered and said to them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall... You know what? Hang on a second. I keep forgetting that I need to quote or bring up my software every time I start to do this. So let me do that. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See ye that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, for the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these things are beginnings of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for all witnesses unto all nations, and then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let him which be in Judea flee unto the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field turn back, for goodness sake, to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. Whereas the Holman Christian Standard Bible, they must not... Wait, great. I just lost track of where I was. The child gives suck. Okay, let me just use Holman Christian here. Woe to pregnant women and nursing mothers in those days. That's basically the other word for it. But pray ye that your flight may not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Except those days shall be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before, wherefore if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shining even unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will be eagles gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and her stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Again, this is the language of the tribulation that we're seeing. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, meaning the four directions, from one end of heaven to the other. All right, so that's one context there. Now, based on that, the God questions is basically saying Jesus is clearly giving a prophecy. He is speaking of future events. Jesus had already told those living during his earthly ministry that the kingdom had been taken away from them. Matthew 21, verse 43, which says, Therefore I tell you, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to a people producing its fruits. Therefore it is imperative that chapter 24 and 25 is seen as dealing with a future time. The generation that Jesus speaks of passing until he returns as a future generation, namely the people living when the predicted events occur. The word generation refers to the people alive in the future when the events of Matthew chapter 24, verse 20, or chapter 24 and chapter 25 take place. So Jesus points in a statement that the generation will not pass and such, and is that the events of the end times will happen quickly. Once the signs of the end begin to be observed, the end is well on the way. The second coming and the judgment will occur within the last generation. So, and then of course, that's the questions. And then of course, Gil, who I said before was the short commentary on this part, he basically goes on and says, where is it? No, it was 34. My bad. So it says, not the generation of men in general, as if the sense was that mankind should not see until the accomplishment of these things, nor the generation of the people of the Jews, nor the generation of Christians, as if the meaning was that there should be always these things until all these events come to pass. But it respects the present age or generation of men that living in it, and the sense is that all the men of that age should not die, but some should live. Until all these things were fulfilled, Matthew 16:8-28, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming to his kingdom, which I think is what was quoted earlier by our friend in the live chat that asked this question. And as there is reason to believe they might and must, since all these things had their accomplishment in and about 40 years after this. And certain it is that John, one of the disciples of Christ, outlived the time by many years, and as Dr. Lightfoot, who was a translator for some of the early church fathers, observes, many of the Jewish doctors now living when Christ spoke these words, lived unto the city, was destroyed, as Rabban Simeon, who was a rabbi that makes his writings known in the Jewish literature, who perished with it, Rabbi Jochan ben Zachai, who outlived it, and Rabbi Zadok, Rabbi Ishmael, and others. This is a full and clear proof that not anything that is said before relates to the second coming of Christ, the day of judgment, and the end of the world, but that all belong to the coming of the Son of Man in the destruction of Jerusalem and to the end of the Jewish state. So, yeah. So I went on long, but that needed to, I believe, be spoken. Anyways, hope that helps out. Already I see X-Fall saying, oh, by the way, we got about 50 minutes left, so if y'all got any questions, feel free to ask them. Also, welcome, Beckel.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Since you just came in here, do you have a question?
I haven't thought of any just yet.
Even during my long reading and ranting there?
No, I was listening to part of it, and then I kind of went into a daze for a few seconds. I got the little one with me right now. She won't go to sleep.
Wait, who's not going to sleep?
My little one.
Ah.
So I right on my chest. She's looking at the screen, watching your icon pop up when you talk, and while with 4 fingers in her mouth, just like ah.
Ooh.
The suspense is killing her.
The suspense.
Yes.
Does she laugh at anything?
Yeah. When I show her my bank account.
That's because your bank account is ridiculous.
No, she is starting to laugh more often now. So just little stupid little things like me playing with the little cubes. And she'll smile, or she actually really laughs at babies, other babies making cooing sounds and stuff. She really likes that.
Yeah, that's normally what happens. My nephew was watching but I think it was Baby Einstein. It was something, one of those little videos that just show like random things happening. And the occasions the babies would come on, and my nephew would just, when he was in a younger age, would start just cracking up at that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me think of a question then.
Okay.
Speaking of babies, what do you think? I know this is kind of a controversial topic regarding the age of accountability. What's your thoughts on that topic in general?
Right. So the age of accountability.
You can first explain it to Ray.
Right. I don't think the Bible tells us, obviously, that there's a age of accountability. At least there's no title that said, oh, okay, they have to be a certain age. Right here, this is the certain age, and then they're accountable. I mean, I think the age of accountability is something that's demonstrated from the realm of science. It's when the consciousness takes over to the point that they are able to be very well aware and take responsibility for their actions. Now, I don't know. I forgot what they said that starting point is, but I know it's there.
Right.
That's what I would say would be basically considered a good age of accountability. But the Bible doesn't tell us.
They have anything to do with soteriology, though, right? That's
right. I mean, God is able to do what he wants in soteriology, regardless of the accountability. But I think that even then, still, that infants, at least especially, like, say, those who have died due to the murder and abortion, or other instances that have happened that they're young, whether it be accidents or abortions or anything like that. I believe God saves those because there is a verse in the Bible, and I haven't heard of it in a while, so I can't really, unless I can just look it up. It mentions of those who have sinned not, and I believe it's somewhere in Matthew. And from what I've looked at on the consensus of who they were, those who have sinned not, this is in reference to infants.
right.
And as a result, these little children, they get a pass basically from that issue because, I guess, as what you would call the age of accountability. But again, we still have to recognize that God could still send them to hell if he wanted to, but at the same time, they also are in a category that when in the context of the Bible, it says they have sinned not, and obviously that means that there's no violation of God's law yet.
Right.
Therefore, they would automatically go to heaven as a result for being qualified by the Bible, God's final authority to us in his inspired word, declares and groups these people as those who have sinned not.
Right. Right.
That was a separate part of the different trail of what you originally asked, but I figured I'd just throw that in there. But yeah, I do believe the age of accountability is nowhere found in the Bible, but we can still figure out what it is based upon at least the science that's out there of when the consciousness starts, that the children start feeling accountable for their own actions and will actually admit when they're wrong and know when they're wrong as well.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, well, it sounds like what I agree. It sounds like what I believe. So, I mean, if God is all merciful, I see no reason in believing that God will send a baby to hell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, barely just got here on earth and dies at infancy, and then all of a sudden God says, well, you cried one too many times for that bottle, so you got to go to hell. No. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You ready for a YouTube question?
Oh, yeah, sure. Is that all you got there, Veckel, for your question?
Yep, that's about it.
All right, man.
For now.
Okay.
At least. All right, yeah. Lay it on me. What do we got, sis?
Okay. XFall500 says, CA, are there hidden Christian themes in FMA? Because the character Scar refers to God quite a bit.
Well, I haven't gotten that far in Full Metal. I know Veckel certainly has probably seen a good bit of Scar, because I know he used to watch Full Metal quite a bit.
I've only seen the first season and the first episode of season 2.
I've seen all of it, so
how
I
much?
can answer this question.
Well, I want to get Veckel's take first. I mean, how much of Scar was in season 1, Vec?
I don't even remember who Scar was.
he was the guy that had the scar on his face.
One that looks Middle Eastern. That killed the little girl.
Spoiler.
I've seen it, so I really can't comment too much on it, to be honest with you.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen too much on it either, so I guess I'll just leave this one to...
You want me?
Or have you seen Full Metal?
I've seen the entire season. Well, I've seen the entire show. I finished my shows.
Are you kidding me?
You're behind.
Oh, yes, I am. Okay. You know
I
what?
want to learn that song, though.
What was the question again?
Because you did answer one question there, sister, so I'm going to just hand this one to Christian Man first. So the question is, is there any hidden Christian themes in Full Metal Alchemist? Because the character Scar refers to God quite a bit.
Christianity is not really in Full Metal Alchemist. There's not really a...
That's for sure.
It's a world where it's best explained kind of like a Scar does believe in a monotheistic religion, but it doesn't. There's not really a lot of like Christian themes in there, except for maybe like brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, if he's talking about the original one,
I'm talking about brotherhood. By the way,
Brotherhood, definitely. Brotherhood, definitely. The first one.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Now there are a lot of like religious themes in Full Metal Alchemist. I'm just saying that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's the baby.
Oh, you heard that?
Baby, how are you?
Yep, we heard that.
She would probably love Sister's voice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, let's give it a shot then.
Do you like sheepies? Hi. How are you?
She's just like, what is that noise?
Do it again. Do it again.
I wish I had candy, but I can't get to the computer on your side of the screen. Hi.
She's almost smiling. Yeah, she doesn't know what she's looking at. This is her first time looking at a Hangout screen.
Mm-hmm.
So she all she sees is just the icons.
Mm-hmm.
But she's somewhat smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay, but anyway, go ahead. Now, one of you were going to say definitely something in Brotherhood, or
There are definitely some, like, I guess you can say, like, there's a lot of, like, Christian, like, understanding of forgiveness and that. There are some Christian ethics in there, but it's not necessarily a Christian show.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just all I wanted to really just say about it.
Yeah, Dick Mangana got some flack for that from a church he used to play music at. They told him to step down from the music ministry. From what I heard.
Because of why?
Because the people there probably thought the show was about magic and everything. I'm like, you didn't even watch the entire show to really understand what the show was about.
Well, CA, I've told CA why I stopped watching it.
Yeah. But this was the first series, and this one was before Brotherhood ever existed. They told him to get out.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah. So, hopefully that answers your question there, X-Fall, because this one's going to be interesting. David B. rockin' music and anime. How would you respond to someone that might be quote-unquote intersex? I commented on this transgender's Facebook page, the one that won an election in Virginia. I said they're male, and someone replied and said, that is not science. Then I wrote biology. And then someone else linked the wiki for intersex. Okay, if you're going to get a Wikipedia article to prove your claim, then you're already just using not scientific research papers. Just a website that can be edited anytime, any place. So use the sources that are actually out there. And according to the scientific papers, according to the scientists, even the other people that are scientifically literate, that are not Christians, they're atheists, that it is proven the brain is binary for gender. There is no intersex. Even on what's her name, that's Stacey or Lacey Green or whatever the girl's name.
The one with the teeth.
Yeah, Lacey Green. She had some scientist on her show and asking about the different genders thing. And this woman apparently even said herself, this scientist that she brought on, that the brain is binary, meaning there are two genders for the brain for that, in that context. So you can easily look this stuff up, that what the brain has on gender is that it reads as a male and a female. There is no other way around that. And that same thing concerning the body types. It only comes out either as a male or a female. So the genes seem to indicate that. Your brain is obviously that. And trying to categorize it as anything that's more than two genders.
Aww.
I
I remember my nephews were that age.
I don't mind getting distracted by that. That's adorable. But yeah, like there are sources out there that it's the science that's out there, shall I say, that says that sex, gender is binary, and I would say that sex may have its own different you're attracted to something else and such, but for concerning gender, it's not the same thing. Sex and gender is not the same. She's wanting to get her words in. Already going to start leaning right, I guess. Already, huh, Veckel?
Yeah, I'm trying to get her to listen to you so she can make a decision for herself on this topic.
Shot up in the way that.
Okay, time to talk about Austrian economics.
No. But in all seriousness, I would just simply say this: you just simply have to look up the science, because the science is out there. Science has said that there's genders, and that's it. Anything else is considered pseudoscience by the community. In fact, even a person identifying as another gender is this thing called gender dysphoria. It is in DSM. It is treated as a medical condition of a illness. And that is what it is. Gender dysphoria is one person who is one gender but believes he or she is of a different gender. That's gender dysphoria, which is also today called transgenderism. So I've looked into this stuff from I haven't looked into this from Christian sources. I've looked into this from scientific research as well as atheistic YouTubers that are having a problem against it because it goes against science and is basically being pushed, but in all reality is a political agenda. So that is all I will say on that.
I'm wondering, do transgenders and people that are friendly to that lifestyle, do they find the term gender dysphoria, what is it called? Dysphoria?
Yep.
Do they find that offensive?
Probably.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I haven't found someone that admitted, because I remember I used a transsexual at one point, and they're like having a clash with that. Like they really got him. He said that was offensive to call him that. So I'm pretty sure if that was able to be offensive, then gender dysphoria would be considered elsewise, because they don't. Because if you use the term gender dysphoria, you're basically saying they have a mental disorder.
A mental problem, right? Yeah.
So this isn't just simply Christian stuff. This is atheists that are identifying the distinction. So, yep.
And that's just the way it is.
Dun, dun, dun. Things will never be the same. Oh my goodness! I remember. Do you remember Jack Smack, Veckel?
Oh my gosh, him? Yeah.
There was
one of the most annoying. Well, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think that's like truth.
She doesn't know anything about Jack Smack.
And probably for the best.
Yeah.
You don't want to call people. You don't. Little child, you better make sure your mouth doesn't repeat the things that he says.
Yeah, I know he was a staunch Calvinist hater. I know that.
Yeah.
But at least he taught eternal security. But that was totally, in my opinion, totally contrary to his Arminianism. I don't see how the two work.
Well, that's the thing. He's even says he's not Arminian. He said that Calvinism and Arminianism are the same thing.
Right.
So he's got a lot of interesting stuff. But I remember he did like a little weird song parody.
Yeah,
and it was to that
song of some sort.
And it was to that you were just singing there.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about.
And oh my goodness, it was ridiculous. He was basically saying, Calvinists, they just like to sing and go to hell. It's just the way it is. I'm like, oh my goodness, you are just trying to cramp as much syllables into a song that's not necessary.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently, the song "Hemorrhage" or "In My Hands" by Fuel, he apparently did a song, but insulting Arminianism. But somehow Calvinism still seems to be on the whole thing. So I'm gonna have to look into what terrible singing he's got in store for us there.
Man.
But yeah, I also remember this little video he made about Paul Washer, where he tried to impersonate Paul Washer, and
Yeah, that's godly.
yeah, it was just terrible because it's like, Paul Washer, I'm a hypocrite. Like I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
How dare he?
Oh man.
He's like, I'm Paul Washer. I'm carnal. I love sin. I want to sin every day. And then
That's not even close to a good, you know, that's not even a good parody.
no, it's not. He never does good parodies. Like I remember another time he did a thing where he was like, I'm going to hand the mic over to 3 Calvinists providing their testimonies. Hi, I'm Jean. I'm a Calvinist, and I'm not saved. I can never know if I'm saved because Calvinism teaches works-based salvation, and you can't be certain of your salvation because of perseverance of the saints.
What? My gosh, that's so horrible. That's so bad.
Well, that's exactly who this guy is.
Calvinist thinks like that.
None do, and he will not. Because I tried commenting on one of his pages, and he says that I'm blocked and that I should just go burn in hell.
Oh.
She's upset about that.
Yep, she doesn't like that at all.
Even babies know that Jack Smack is terrible.
Out of the mouth of babes.
Indeed. Never trusted Jack Smack.
Never trust. Sounds like something on a t-shirt.
You know what? If that's something, I will put that out there and make that a merchandise t-shirt if I start getting merchandise set up.
Jack don't know smack.
Yep, Jack Smack don't know smack. So he's just Jack.
Well, I got another question for you. Sort of a two-parter.
Lay it on me. We got 30 minutes, by the way, for those who are watching. So if you're watching, send in your questions in the YouTube chat.
Okay, it's concerning Star Wars, since the Star Wars movie just came out, the latest one.
And I just saw it.
Yeah, to me, let me just say, I thought it was an excellent film. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It's really a shame, though, that Sylvester Stallone died at the end. But anyway, that's a joke.
What?
I said it's a shame that
Yes.
I said it's really a shame that Sylvester Stallone dies at the end.
Wait, as in the actor?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
It's
hey,
just
I'm a sloth. I
It's
really don't
spoilers.
get.
it's a stupid joke.
It's
You
a,
know, I do that with everybody when they tell me, no spoilers, please. I says, oh, okay, I won't tell you that Sylvester Stallone died at the end.
Wow.
And what? And then they pause for a minute, like, oh, he's just joking. We know Sylvester Stallone's not in the movie. But anyway, I'm sure you've heard the controversy amongst some Christians saying that you shouldn't watch Star Wars because of the pagan innuendos and roots and all that other stuff, and Buddhists and stuff like that. I mean, have you heard of anybody saying stuff like that about Star Wars?
Yeah, I've heard it all the time. It's called "I Live in the Bible Belt."
Okay. Oh yeah, that's
never
right.
heard of people say that.
Really?
I never.
Yeah.
And I used to go to a really charismatic church, and my pastor that I currently go to church with, he's a big Star Wars fan.
Wait, you go to a charismatic church?
No, I used to.
Oh, you used to, and nobody said a single thing to you about Star Wars at a charismatic church? Really?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. They were, I guess, a little bit more open-minded.
Okay.
But I do know that there's been mentioned by some people about
Right.
Star Wars and such, and I think I forget who it was. But I remember one group tried to address Star Wars, and it's some people have been able to use it to explain their faith, to explain the gospel and Christianity. I don't think that Christians should be opposed to it, because I mean, it's just, for one, just some basic general entertainment thing. If you're just going to paint everything with a broad brush, then might as well. But there are some things that they kind of like that they're sharing similarities with other things out there, but that doesn't mean they're automatically doing it, because for one, we're praying. The pagans pray. Does that mean practicing pagan practices? No, but no, we're not doing that. So the issue is then, how then should we take from this? And some people have tried to use, like, the Force is almost like God in a way, at least in the sense of the Father, and in other parts of the Force could be the Holy Spirit and such. So there have been a couple of videos that have done that talks about who's God in this thing. Even there's a video apparently done with George Lucas on the meaning of Star Wars, where I think he talks a little bit about the issue behind it. A guy named One Reality talks about it. Now, of course, you have what's his name? Star Wars: The Satanic Force of Witchcraft Awakens, which is the Vigilant Christian, and then apparently Robert Breaker is claiming that there's a Bible code about the Star Wars Force Awakens movie. So normally the people that have something to say about it usually are trying to look for extra biblical things to try to just make these weird connections.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't really look too hard into it about it. I would just say that it's its own thing. But if people can find that there are influences of Christianity in it, or that they can find Christian themes and elements in it that can be applied into their Christian faith, then I think that's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. I don't, I never really considered these sayings from some Christians about, oh, you shouldn't be watching Star Wars, brother. I feel the same way about that as I do about the issue of watching anime and being a Christian as well. It's a Romans 14. And like I said before, I mean, you guys know why I stopped watching Full Metal Alchemist, but I'm not saying that it's a sin to watch it in general. So I think if a Christian doesn't feel the same conviction, they can watch it if they want. That's the way I feel about the Star Wars thing too. So I think you can chew up the meat and spit out the bones with, so long as it doesn't cause you to stumble and you're not compromising your walk with Christ in any way. That Noah movie with Russell Crowe that came out a few years ago. What an atrocity. But I did watch it twice just for entertainment purposes, not because I was looking for some edification out of it biblically, because it was far from biblical, but it was still, to me, in my opinion, still entertaining as a movie by itself. But that's it.
Yeah.
That is it. And but the latest Star Wars film, by the way, folks, again, it really is a good movie. Even outside of the Star Wars canon, it's a good movie by itself. So, but anyway.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for your question there, man.
Yeah.
All right. We got Soma saying, oh, snap, it's Veckel.
Uh-oh, what'd I do? I ain't do it.
Is it? Okay, so someone that X-Files asked, what are my thoughts on the three wise men? And why was the song Three Kings written? I don't understand. What do you mean, what are my thoughts on the three wise men?
Well, there weren't three wise men. There were three gifts and the three wise men.
Mm-hmm.
And they were Jewish.
And they were Jewish. Yeah.
Yeah, wise men. See, the last name is Wiseman.
They were people that were called to get delivered the three gifts. I mean, there's really not much thoughts you can offer on that, at least to me. And the song, why was the song "We Three Kings" were written? It was for a college Christmas pageant by John Henry Hopkins in 1857.
We three kings be stealing the gold.
So, yeah, I mean, that's why it was written.
Well, somebody might ask, okay, you know, these three magi, wise men, they were following a star and they were astrologers or something like that. So why? Oh my gosh, who the heck is calling me at this time of night? Okay. They would ask the question, why? Hold on, I got to take this call. Be right back. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So yeah, I guess he said. I guess we'll just move to another question in here because I can't think of anything at the moment. Respond to that because I mean, there's really not much to say because there's not much mentioned about the wise men. All right, so Jimmy.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Question.
It was interesting you brought up Christians and movie watching. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good. It's a bit shaky for me because most media nowadays has some form of sin. Even if maybe the people sinning are antagonists, antagonistic evil characters, it's like still put out for us as entertainment. And so I like what VEKL was saying, because I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. But what, like, what circumstances are okay for a Christian to be watching it? Like, could you expand on that?
For watching what movies?
Most really, like if you can see a movie has sin in it and the sin is put as entertaining rather than, I don't know, informative or educational. Like I can understand maybe, I think once you said that you watch anime for like the glory of God or something, you do this anime parable series.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe also when it comes to topics like should Christians watch Game of Thrones or something like that, some would say they try to.
I haven't covered that. John Piper most certainly has, though.
Yeah, a bunch do. Then some like say, oh, but we do it for evangelism purposes. They try, like, I don't know what they try, but it's for evangelism or something like that. Now the question is, are there any other? Because I'm fine with maybe if you can somehow bring it to the glory of God and like entertainment isn't your primary goal. What other circumstances can you watch things that have sin put out as entertainment?
Well, I mean, I think the issue is just simply defining that if you can find a way to use it to glorify God, then that would be the main thing. If you can't, or if you just can't, and you're trying to make excuses to justify your reasoning, that though your excuses are inconsistent, then it's really faulty to just continue in that life. to continue watching these series. Personally, I don't think people should be watching Game of Thrones because I've seen the show. I've looked at a little bit of how it is, and it's graphic for its own sake. So I am personally not for it, and I mean I'm kind of in the same camp with John Piper on it, because there's a way that it not just mentions and shows sin, but glorifies it.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, exactly.
But if some people can watch some of these shows and just point out, and if they can see that there is some goodness in it and focus on the goodness, then that will work. But here's the thing of what happens. If you can do this standard as that standard, and shows like Game of Thrones are not seen by Christians that watch that standard, it shows, hey, that means that by using that consistent standard, they're going to find the shows that aren't in that category, and they're excluding Game of Thrones from there. They're going to go find something else. Maybe there's something in Voltron that they could possibly find. Maybe there's something in what's a good another good show that's out there these days?
Insert good movie name.
Maybe The Mist or something. I know that's a new show that's been going on for Spike.
Rick and Morty.
Oh, not really, because I know I've seen a few episodes of that, and Rick is sort of a very staunch atheist. He did at one point make some prayer to God, but as soon as he made a promise on that and it happened, he just basically said, I just proved it. There is no God in your face, and all that nonsense. So yeah. But there are other things that are in the that are out there that people can use with that criteria, and they're able to narrow down what they should watch, what's good for them to watch. At least that's the thing, good for them to watch. That's edifying for them, and that won't offend them or stumble them in their faith.
I don't know.
May I make a comment on this?
Sure.
You may.
Well, the thing is, I kind of see sin kind of similar to germs or bacteria. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it, but you can prevent it and treat it. You go to doctor, take vitamins, exercise, keep a daily routine. Just keep yourself in tip-top shape. You can't avoid it, but I guess that's how I view it. And yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
So we make an effort, pretty much, to remove the ticks from your sloth fur.
Yeah. See. Anyways, we got about 10 minutes left before we shut the show off for tonight. So we have 6 people watching. Y'all got questions? Put them in, submit them. Get y'all's things in here, ladies and gentlemen.
They're all here for VEKL.
VEKL. VEKL.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude.
Why is Vekel not in? All right, so yeah, y'all are. Let's see, we got 8 people. No, it went to 6. Dang it. Well, if anyone's watching, feel free to submit your question, because we could use some before, at least 1 or 2 more before we start closing things off. So, Sis, do you have a question?
You're all pagans.
You're a pagan.
Did the thing.
Pagans.
No, I'm an animal. I make that sound naturally.
Why, you compromiser.
I identify as sloth.
I don't think I have anything.
All right. Don't worry about it. Then let's go to Christian Man.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, huh? It's still Wolf Children.
It will always be.
Darn it! I forgot about that.
Yes, you did. And you know what's going to happen now, Christian Man?
Oh no!
Listen very carefully.
I'll give you a birthday
Are
present.
you listening? Listen very carefully to this sound.
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That is my 45. And I'm bringing it over to your house.
Oh dang it! Don't. Oh, dude, you better. Dang.
Prepare for the Crusades!
Oh, great! The Great Crusade of Christian Anarchist and Christian Man.
And I am about to prepare my wrath, fear, my social justice.
Don't worry, I'll be sure to pretty much hit you before you can get in my house with an M14.
Fair game. Fair game. Okay. And I think we've just confused everyone. What the? Is this going to turn... Soma asks, is this going to turn into Ask Hindu Anarchist? I don't know. Will it? Everybody, commence in 3, 2, 1.
Peaceful noises.
Peaceful noises and monasteric reverberations against the wall.
Oh,
Oh, and we can all sing in Latin.
well, I don't know. So we're done.
Sola scriptura.
There's literally a some I guess black metal or they call it black metal band that their songs are basically the 5 solas of the Protestant Reformation, and they sing their songs in Latin.
Oh, Gregorian chants. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, they do it they do it as metal Gregorian chant style.
My opinion is I find them really actually peaceful.
Oh yeah, there's actually a study that was done that it actually kind of helped out with a kind of like the Mozart effect for study.
Mm-hmm.
That these same things kind of have that same kind of a deal, like they have that same kind of effect.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So if you're trying to study with a Gregorian chant, it'll help you study. So now the more you know.
Mm-hmm. More you know.
And knowing is half the battle. E.I. Joe. Nothing? Really? Okay. Childhood ruined. Okay. Veckel, have you returned yet? I will take the silence as a no. Okay. We got room for one more question. So, who wants to take the last question for the night, since no one in the live chat's answering?
Well, what do you think of Asian culture?
I think it's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Asian culture has its own things, but I think there are other parts that, there are some things that's ungodly about it,
Mm-hmm.
and needs to turn to Christ, of course. But other than that, I mean, I find some of the stuff that goes on in Asian culture, especially like the anime and the manga, it's its own. It's good, and I like because I enjoy the anime and the manga stuff, and I hear places like Akihabara, for example, in Japan. It's a good place that I want to check out one day. But The food's nice from some of the stuff, especially the fact that they have one of the things that I wanted to do for a challenge, and I may actually get collaborating with somebody in the near future for this, and that is these umeboshi plums.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically pickled plums that are super sour. And first time I've seen it is with Rhett and Link.
Oh yeah.
Good Mythical Morning, and they basically just showed it was very crazy that it practically almost broke their jaw.
Dang. Had somebody from my mother's work actually go to Japan and bring back my mom a Kit Kat bar, because they have like hundreds of flavors of Kit Kats in Japan. One of them is wasabi flavored. So she got the wasabi flavored. We split one in half. It had a very creamy texture, but it was a very you could taste a bit of a burn, but it wasn't that bad.
Mm.
It didn't taste too bad on my end.
Mm. Well, at least it didn't be bad on your end.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, those are my thoughts on Asian culture.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I could definitely tell it's getting time for me. All right. So last question from Xfall, because he apparently has one. CA, can anime teach us important life lessons? Because I have learned several life lessons from watching anime. Yes, especially for concerning Christian themes and elements, because there's a reason why I have the series on my YouTube channel called Anime Parables. I've covered Rurouni Kenshin. I've covered where Rurouni Kenshin emphasizes the idea of repentance. I have the issue of those who live by the sword die by the sword in Helsing, and that one person's ego causes them to forsake their standards that they've had about God. Then you have a part when I covered Kame ga Kill, which covers judges and the statement of total depravity. So you could find Christian teachings and life lessons in anime, of course. I mean, no one's able to doubt that. So yeah. All right, so hopefully that helps out, and that will be the end of the day's show. I will not be making it to the after party, and in fact, this will be an announcement. I will not be doing Ask Christian Anarchist for the rest of December, because I have to focus on Christmas, and I'm going to spend time relaxing and at the same time planning for the next few weeks that I have ahead of me. Plus, it'll also give me time to work on the 1,000 subscribers special, so I can finally have some time to work on that as well. I've already got Aleximus Prime as a collaborator. I've already got Silver Reploid, and I got probably a couple other people. And of course, Christian Man is definitely going to be in it too. So stay tuned for that day when it happens, the collab. So until then, we'll see how this turns out. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I keep saying until then, but you know what? This is the actual until then. Shalom Aleichem, peace be upon you, because I wish that upon you. Have a great day.